Hey, everybody.
Hello. Hey, Brenda. How's everybody?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great.
Hi, everybody.
Deb.
Hi, Deb. Hey, Stan.
How are you?
Hi, Mickey Winters.
Good evening.
Brenda, she revised something, right?
Yes.
I'm looking at it now.
I think it's Deb. There. I'm gonna wait a few more minutes. It's a quorum, so I guess 7 o'clock. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. May 18th, 2021, regular meeting. People would say their name and if they're present in Ypsilanti Township or not. Brenda Stumbo, Ypsilanti Township. Heather?
Heather Jarrow, President Ypsilanti Township.
Gloria?
Gloria Peterson, President Ypsilanti Township.
Debbie Swanson?
Debbie Swanson, present virtually Ypsilanti Township.
Stan Eldridge.
Stan Eldridge, present, Ypsi Township.
As the other board members come on, then, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As other board members come on, then we will kind of interrupt and acknowledge them as they come on to the Zoom meeting. At this time, there's public comments. If people would give their name, they don't have to, but if they would, that'd be great. Or if they live in Ypsi Township, if you have questions or comments. Does anyone have questions or comments in the public? You can raise your hand. I don't see any. Oh, I see one. I'm sorry. Hi, we have, before I call on the resident, Jimmy, would you like to state your name and if you're present in Ypsi Township?
Trustee Jim Wilson, Ypsi Township.
Thank you. And Trustee Newman, if you give your name and whether you're present in Ypsilanti Township or not. Mr. Newman, can you hear me? You're on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
John Newman, Ypsilanti Township, trustee.
Present.
All
right. We'll go to the public comments. The first person or individual raise their hand is Tad Weiser. Mr. Weiser, I'm going to allow you to comment. Okay.
Hi, Tad Weiser, 610 North Miami. Just no real comment. Just wanted to thank you all for making this so easily available to attend. It's making me a better attendee of my township meetings here. So thank you for that. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we're going to go to the agenda item. The first is the consent agenda, the minutes of the May 4th regular meeting, statements and checks, and the treasurer's report for April of 2021.
So moved. Jarrow.
Support Peterson.
Motion Jarrow, support Peterson. Questions or comments?
I know.
Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the attorney's report. Mr. Winters?
Madam Chair, I continue to send the board a number of letters that kind of traverse a number of different challenges, to say the least, I guess, in regards to what's going on in the township. And at this time each year, we seem to have a lot of issues that come at us that, for lack of a better way of saying it, pertain to quality of life type issues. You may have seen a few cases come across your desk pertaining to just inordinate amount of blight that has accumulated from properties, the efforts to bring those properties into compliance. You see the challenges presented by tall grass where by not being mowed, it's very unsightly. Also, it serves as a breeding ground for rats and other vermin. And so those issues usually start by this time of the year, complaints rather, and they'll go through the next 3 or 4 months. And I know that the OCS and other personnel are doing everything they can to stay on top of it. But it's particularly going to be a challenge, I think, still because of the just coming out of the, I don't want to say post-COVID, but we're just coming out of where we can maybe at some point in time start meeting again, which I think would be a great opportunity for all of us to discuss some of these issues, some of which may need to be discussed in closed session. But right now we do have a number of issues ranging from, and these are my words, 2 back-to-back out-of-control parties that occurred within 24 hours on the street over here in West Willow. That's just totally unfair to the residents, to the neighborhood, to the police department that has to divert very precious resources to basically disperse crowds of up to 300 people within one 24-hour period. Those type of situations cannot, define this summer of 2021, given what we've all gone through. And this board has done everything in its power to give us the resources to proceed forward. And there may be some additional ones coming your way here in the days ahead. I would also mention right now that the ASME negotiations are back on track in terms of trying to be scheduled. There was some setbacks in scheduling those due to some change in personnel within ASME at the time. And so we have some dates that were scheduled for the first part of June. We're trying to get those issues resolved going forward in terms of the contract that was extended at the end of last year. We also probably at some point in time need to talk as a board. And again, it could involve a closed session meeting because it does involve the transfer of property. Is just where do we stand today in regards to the YMCA? How has it changed from what was envisioned back in 2019? Are we still sharing that same vision? There seems to have been some changes that I'm not really sure the board has really been involved with that to the degree of participation as it should be. And I have forwarded to you a very detailed letter in regards to some of the challenges that I think this board may need to deal with in the weeks or even the weeks ahead. Again, the township has been very transparent and was very, very supportive of at least expressing an intent to convey up to 25 acres of property from the old Seaver Farm, which is a significant commitment. But we cannot make that conveyance unless we have in place all of the requirements of the resolution that require a feasibility study by the YMCA, assurances that they can financially operate this in the years to come, and that we really do have a recreational facility built that was envisioned back in 2019. And again, we're not at a point right now where I can go much further right now because we don't have a feasibility study, which was what was required back in 2019. But I am bringing this matter to your attention, just given some of the recent developments that I set forth in my letter to the board last week over the weekend. We still continue to meet internally in regards to the industrial revitalization district, which is the I-94 Rossonville Road corridor. And we're moving forward very aggressively and timely in regards to a meeting, going over some bumps along the way, so to speak. And I think we're getting closer to where it can be at least part of a work session here sometime in the very near future. So again, you have a lot of issues ranging from quality of life. You got a lot of issues going on at the Township Planning Commission that are very, very, very significant that could impact how the future of the township is developed, and they're dealing with those issues. At the same time, we have challenges of our own regarding the implementation of the resolution pertaining to YMCA, padlock issues regards to houses that don't want to comply with the township's requirements, that we truly mean what we say when we say you can't sell drugs in the township from the in residential properties that are being used for drug houses. And so all these things are coming at us front and center. And I know that right now we don't have, I said this before, we don't have the deepest of benches, but yet we have, I think, a very, very high quality and very, very professional team. And I know that over here at our office, we appreciate everyone at the township board level and staff that provides us what we need to be successful in the court system. But again, even though we have a light agenda tonight, we're not lacking for any serious for serious issues that are on our plate. And in the days ahead, if we can meet, I hope we can discuss some of these. Karen Wallen and I have also dealt with some internal issues involving the last few weeks that have also collided with some of our timeline for the ethics and policy procedure manual update. We're still working on that. And again, all these things are coming at us. And sometimes, as you know, when you have to juggle things, you just kind of sometimes run out of hands to catch what you're trying to juggle. We don't forget what's on our agenda, but sometimes things come at us that we're not expecting to see on a day-to-day basis, so we adjust accordingly. But that's kind of a Cliff Notes version as to what we've been doing since the last board meeting, and we'll continue to follow through on what the board has directed us to do on all matters pertaining to procedure, policy, the marijuana initiative, sunset provision, ASME negotiations. So when you say it like that, it does sound kind of tiring, which I think it does explain why we sometimes feel very tired. But again, we have to do what has to be done, and I thank all of you for your support.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? He's right. It might be a small agenda, but there's a lot going on every day, and very thankful for everyone who works hard every day to serve the community and keep things moving forward. Under new business, we have the request to approve the amendment to the Connecting Communities Project Agreement with Washtenaw County for the construction of the Huron Street pathway. Due to COVID, we asked for an extension because all the prices are coming in higher. And so Mike Hoffmeister reached out to the county and they agreed to the extension, and this authorizes for it to be extended another year.
So moved, Gerald Rowe.
Support Eldridge.
The motion, Gerald Rowe, support Eldridge. Are there questions or comments? I do know that Mike Hoffmeister is on the meeting if anyone has any questions. And this is for the bike path that is on Huron Street that's going to connect it. And when they do the bridge project that we're doing next year with the city, that is going to complete a pathway all the way from the city over to the township, down to the Kroger shopping center. and where people can actually go to work and not have to walk down the middle of two fast moving lanes. So I believe we've been waiting about 20 years for this to happen. And so it's going to happen next year. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 2 is a request approval of a memorandum of understanding with Washtenaw County Community Partners for Clean Streams to accept a grant in the amount of $1,000 for the Sugar Brook Park project.
So moved, Eldridge.
Support Swanson.
Motion Eldridge, support Swanson. We've talked about this before, and Sugar Brook is taking the lead in applying for grants throughout Washtenaw County and the state, however they can get it to do a raised or a butterfly garden or pollinator garden and have some natural areas in Sugar Brook, which is a very large park. So I think it's perfect, and really appreciate the Neighborhood Watch Group and their leadership on this, and Evan Pratt, who also has helped make this a reality. So new things, and we appreciate it. Any questions on this? Mike Hoffmeister is available if there is. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the request approval of proposal from DMC Technology Group for licensing, installation, configuration, and training of the hearing notification electronic check and application in the amount of $4,400, which is budgeted.
I would so move contingent upon attorney approval or review.
Motion Rowe,
Support, Eldridge.
support Eldridge. I know that Magistrate Nelson is on the Zoom as well. This will allow notification via text and update the current technology they have. My understanding is there was a grant received through the Michigan State Police. So that's helpful. I mean, I like when our dentist office does it, so it would be great to have, I think these are the kind of things that make it a lot easier on the customer, and I'm very appreciative of Judge Washington and Magistrate Nelson for bringing this forward. Is there any questions on this?
No.
Trustee Swanson.
I know this may be hard to believe, but I know that there are people who without cell phones or without access to cell phones. So how does this impact? Will there be the regular notifying and this is just an additional notifying? Or what happens if somebody doesn't have access to a cell phone to receive notifications?
I do know that they mail as well.
Yeah.
This is just a reminder. Magistrate Nelson,
Yeah.
would you like?
Good evening. Thank you for the time. Yes, Trustee Swanson, this is an enhancement too. So we continue to mail notices out to folks. That's our primary notification. That's our legal requirement, is to notify people by regular U.S. mail to last known address. But people voluntarily provide us with cell phone and or email contact. This would work in both medium, both email and cell phone. We could either send text, voice, or emails to remind them of upcoming court dates or upcoming payments if they're on a payment plan, probation appointments, things of that nature. So we're just trying to have an added service here. The grant is paying for us. The other component of it is an electronic check-in. So if somebody does arrive at the courthouse, they can hit their app and say, we're in the parking lot. At that point, it gives us the ability to say, our building's got capacity right now. Wait where you are. We'll text you or email you when you can come in. So we can sort of regulate the amount of traffic coming through and keep the numbers in our courtrooms down as we move forward through this.
Great. Debbie, any other questions from anyone else? Did that answer your question? That was a great question. All right.
The only other thing I would add is this is a one source vendor. These are folks that have the authority to add on to our case management system. So it's not something we could have bid out with one amongst other vendors. And these are agreements we've entered into in the past. So if Attorney Winters is going to take a look at it. It's the same agreements we've had with the same group in the past.
And there's a annual maintenance fee, is that correct?
It would be moving forward. Yeah, this particular, the first one's covered by the grant. Then we would have a $500 annual maintenance after that moving forward, which we would have to budget for in our future budgets.
Okay. All right. Any more questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4 is budget amendment number 7.
Yeah, I have budget, am I unmuted? I am. I have budget amendment number 7. The first is the PTO payout, and then the other is the amendment to the 14B District Court Fund that we just discussed on that agenda item. So I have a motion to amend the 2021 budget. I would move to increase the general fund budget by $833 to $9,550,278 and approve the department line item changes outlined, and move to increase the 14B District Court Fund budget by $22,450 to $1,730,783 and approve the department line change as outlined.
The motion by Rowe.
Support Eldridge.
Mr. Winters?
I did raise my hand correctly this time, by the way. So in regards to the 14B grant, I was going to ask Magistrate Nelson that I think this might be a good opportunity, a great opportunity really, for the court to sort of measure before and after, because over the years, we have seen repeatedly the challenge the court has had in no shows in terms of people not showing up, the issuance of bench warrants as described in the memo, the constant cycle of then having to pick someone up, bring them back in, set another bond, and then hope they show up again. And not to mention the amount of fines that were not collected for over a period of many years. I'd be kind of curious just to see what type of if we can measure just like starting whenever this goes into effect, if we improve the number of people or decrease the number of no-shows for court appearances, and just whether or not the payment of fines is seen to be a direct linkage to this technology. It seemingly would, because as Supervisor Stumbo said, we all get notified by CVS, by dentists when appointments are scheduled. And it is a great reminder to have that text message, because sometimes you forget to put it down in your calendar, etc. But the court, I think, could really be a big beneficiary of this technology. But I'd like to see maybe whether it's this time next year, the beginning of the first quarter, etc. I'd like to see exactly what type of results the court would have to show in terms of this, because in reading this document, it does provide for additional enhancements to this technology. And I think if there is a request for future enhancements, it would only be fair for the Township Board to be made apprised as to what measurable benefits were seen during the implementation of this technology. So that's a comment that might go beyond the four corners of the proposal, but it's one that I know this board has dealt with for many years with the previous judges, trying to make sure that people show up in court and pay their fines on some type of a regular payment plan. So that's my request of Magistrate Nelson and the judge.
If I could respond, if you like. So our case management system is quite robust and does have the ability to track a number of different metrics, and we certainly could tell you how many bench warrants were issued 1 month to the next. It would certainly show general trends. I don't know if you would attribute up and downs to one factor or another, but it certainly is trackable. The raw data is. we have more than happy to provide any reports that the board would like to have. We can certainly generate those and report them on whatever basis they'd like to see them on as far as time goes.
Well, I was just mentioning this, Mark, because I think one of the reasons behind the technology is try to decrease the number of no-shows.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And at the same time, trying to increase the regular payment of fines and costs. And so it's more like a 2 or 3-fold effort here to try and save the court staff time from having to send out multiple notices to people who don't show up, and also have to at some point in time consider writing off uncollectible fines and costs. So I think it is something that is a very measurable metric there, as you phrased it, and I think it'd be one that the board would want to know, because there are some provisions in the contract that I read anyways that provides for enhancement of this technology. And I think that would be a great thing to show the board.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Just if the board would let us know what frequency they want the reporting done, we'd be more than happy to provide it.
Trustee Swanson?
Along that lines, I'd be interested in, maybe it's possible or it's not possible, if there are enhancements, how this software or an enhancement they have might help us with safety. I know that that's something that the court was looking at. There was a committee that was looking at it. So I didn't know if the check-in, check-out would be something that would also enhance our ability to work on that, because that was something that was on the plate as well.
Yeah, and that's certainly another component we've been meeting on a regular basis to move that portion forward as well. And certainly, to the extent that we know who's approaching the building and when they're here, in certain circumstances, that's really would be helpful information to have. And again, it does give us some bit of control over when people are coming into the building, because they would come in on our invitation at that point in time. So certainly would be helpful to that. I think when they're referring to enhancements, so this software is available to everybody that uses the same case management software we utilize, which is about 70% of the district courts in the state. So oftentimes a court or two will recognize that there might be some other tweak they want to it and things of that nature. So if they get a big enough group of those district courts agreeing that tweak should be done, that's what they're referred to as an enhancement in most cases. So it would be something that would be done sort of system-wide, but that's why they refer to that, as because there potentially could be some cost or no cost to that, depending on how it's developed and where the funding would come from. That if a group of courts are sharing that, or if it's big enough change, they would just make it based upon a request like that.
Great. Magistrate Nelson, I have one question on the grant. It was $22,450. Was that a direct grant to the court, or do we have to accept that at a future date?
The grant's already in place. It's a reimbursement grant. So as we spend funds on a periodic basis, we would submit back for reimbursements. That was the amount we were awarded through the Michigan State Police for COVID relief. Obviously, this is just a portion of it. So other examples of things that we're looking to utilize the grant funding for would be something as simple as reimbursement for the increased postage and mailings and things like that we had to do when we were putting off hearings all through last summer. We were just constantly doing mailings over and over and over again. So there was some portion to recoup some of that fund, those expenses. Another project we'll be bringing back to the board shortly will be an enhancement to our Wi-Fi system that'll allow access from the parking lot for those folks that don't have a robust of a broadband connection or internet connection from their home. We did place a device in the lobby for people to participate via Zoom from our facility here. So again, if somebody doesn't have the technology on their own, they can come here and participate without entering the courtroom while we're under the certain restrictions we're under right now. They can participate there at a remote distance from everybody else in the courtroom and still be able to come and participate in court hearings. So there's a number of things like that. They're all sort of COVID related that we're looking to either recoup expenses we've already made or to do some enhancements that'll assist us through the rest of the pandemic here.
Okay, so the grant is directly to 14B District Court.
Through the township funding, like similar to our drug court grant. I mean,
Okay.
we would, make the payments from our budget and then get reimbursed. And that's what the line item that Clerk Rowe was describing us for.
Okay, we might have to formally accept it at a future date, but keep the grants coming. That's wonderful. We have a motion and support. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There's no other business. Are there board member updates? Board member updates? I just received an email for save the date for June 2nd at 7 p.m. for a Zoom meeting for the US 12 improvements. So they haven't announced it yet, but they're going to be scheduling a very large Zoom meeting with the community throughout the entire community, really, because a lot of people use that to go back and forth to Wayne County and back to homes and to work, and people coming further away. So they're going to hold an actual Zoom meeting, and OHM will host it. The US 12 E-Course Road improvement is going to also be on the Washtenaw County Road Commission website, so that our residents and anyone who has access to it will know who to contact. The actual work is going to begin right after Labor Day. So we were a little concerned that the work might start before the actual hearing or the public, meeting that we're going to have. So as soon as we get anything, we'll push it out to, all the board members, all the neighborhood watch groups, to make sure that they're very much aware of when the project's going to start. I did see them move some of their stuff on site already. So they're staging their equipment, but once it starts, it's going to be a large improvement. That's all it's going to dramatically change everything, and it's going to make it a lot better. Heather and Stan and I met with DTE. We have to bring back that agreement for the improvements. So their DTE representative is out for a little while, but he has sent emails. But we're trying to narrow it down to get an actual contract to bring back to the board to formally approve it. If that doesn't come by the next meeting, then we ask that they run the underground wiring and cable, so it'll be ready as part of the infrastructure if we can't get a response from DTE in time. At the last meeting, you authorized us to go forward with preparing a grant for recycling. So our contract requires us to get information and approval from Waste Management. I sent an email out right after. I haven't heard back from them yet. So we're still waiting, because currently it says we purchase the recycle bins directly from Waste Management. So I was trying to ask more about, could we, pay half of it? Could we purchase some like we did the actual bins? Some residents have requested we have smaller recycle containers. So those are all the questions that, because we have a contract with Waste Management, we have to get their approval. So that's where we're at with that. We'll continue, and there's lots of grants for recycling that continue throughout our county and state and at the federal level as well. So, but we can't do anything without Waste Management. So hopefully I'll get a return email from them. Heather, Stan, Debbie Swanson, and Robin Castle-Hine have met several times for quality of life issues. There is a subgroup with the Sheriff's Department and some of our community members to see if we can address some of the quality of life issues that Attorney Winters spoke about. They'd like to do a campaign or education on slow down and turn it down, because noise has become, and it has been every year since I've been elected, one of the biggest issues. So hopefully it's like a pilot, and we're going to try to see if we can change the behavior through interaction, education, and signage. So I just want to give my thanks to the board members who are working on that. And we have another meeting by Zoom on Thursday. So we'll keep you updated. We're trying to see if we can get something that works everywhere. And signs to entrances of neighborhoods was a suggestion. And that kind of sounds good to me. They're going to do door hangers and a direct mailer on it as well. Speaking of direct mailing, the letter that was sent out from residential services really prompted and engaged a lot of our residents in asking for recycle stickers to put around the 32-gallon garbage can. So, and we also have a lot of yard waste stickers. And Carl Rousey, our director of the compost site, he said that he's seen a pretty significant uptick, and he calls them sticks, in with the yard waste. So that's good. So residents are actually doing it, and we're greatly appreciative of that. We did have a request that possibly during storm dam, if there's a major storm, that we have a cleanup crew. So we're going to meet with our team, the 3 full-time and the staff here. The biggest challenge we have and everyone has is the workforce. People are not applying for jobs. I don't know. There's a lot of theories on that. I'm not sure. But as far as seasonal help, it's been more than 2 years since it's been very hard to get seasonal manual work like I used to do, right? But we're going to keep trying. And for full-time jobs at the township, the pool is just not, getting large enough. So we got to cast the net larger and do whatever we can to, not only let our residents know, but other avenues of these good jobs that are available at the township. So we will continue to work on that. And that's all I have to update. Are there other board members that have any?
I know there was, I don't know if it was supposed to be this meeting or the next meeting where we were going to discuss the grant writer full-time, well, not full-time, but I guess put it out there for part-time grant writer.
Yeah. So at the last meeting, we authorized to retain and use the one that was brought forward by myself at the last meeting. And then Trustee Wilson suggested that we bid it out and open it up. So we're going to work on the request for professional services and bring it back to the board and put it out. And so we can have another professional service at the township's assistance through all the grant opportunities. Because, it's A to Z, like Magistrate Nelson spoke about, all the ones for the court. Yeah. There are so many grants. So we hope my goal is to bring that back to the next meeting and authorize us to go out for requests for proposals.
All right.
Any other questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you again. I know that we're all very grateful, especially the trustees and especially the new trustees, for all the information that we're sent by employees. You can tell that people have a great dedication to their job. And then when they communicate with us, they're able to answer questions. And a lot of times they answer questions in great detail. So thank you to the staff who works really hard on behalf of taking care of making sure we have information, but just taking very good care of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just a question. With the, I guess, COVID decreasing, has there been any talk about us getting together in person?
We discussed that actually today at a safety committee meeting, and right now it's still limited to 25 people.
Okay.
So, I would hate to be the person that says you're number 26, you can't come in. So hopefully vaccination rates continue to increase in Washtenaw County and specifically in our area. Mm-hmm. We did ask for census tract information of who was vaccinated, and we can do direct mailings to people and try to connect them. I think a lot of times people just don't know where to go, and navigating the computer is not easy for vaccinations.
No.
It's not. We can assist in some way,
Right.
increase our numbers to the residents who want to be vaccinated. That would be great. But right now, John, we don't have a answer, but we asked the same question today and it's still limited to 25. We're all ready to meet in person, and I know neighborhood watch groups are asking to do the same. I think West Willow's next meeting is going to be outdoors, but they want to meet. So I understand. Yeah. But right now, there's been no change. So as soon as that limit of 25 is lifted or increased, if they could just increase it a little bit, that would help tremendously.
I know it's a fluid situation, so it's liable to change in a day or two,
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So as we know, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone here is in favor of moving to in person, right? Just raise your hand. Yeah. But until we can have more than 25.
Right.
And the court is even on a different schedule. I mean, we are open effective Monday, which was good. But in the court is a little bit different. So it's just, there's lots of rules rolling around everywhere.
Okay.
But our safety committee is doing a very good job on trying to manage it and put the MIOSHA things in place and everything that we need to be compliant.
All right.
Thank you. That's a great question. Hearing none other, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion and support.
Support.
Motion by who? Stan? Jimmy?
Gloria and Jen.
Peterson.
Going right. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, Heather. Peterson. We said at the same time, Heather and I. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll take Gloria and Jen.
At 7:41 to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Good
See y'all later.
night.
Take care.
Bye.
Here.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Cleaver Green at Council, and I've been asked to step in today for your usual lecturer, who's temporarily indisposed. Now, who can tell me where you're all up to? That girl there. Yeah? Blondie? You? No? Yeah? We've been discussing the Trade Practices Act. Misleading and deceptive conduct. I know it only too well. Section 51(1) was designed to protect the unsuspecting from the unscrupulous. If, in the course of a professional transaction, the party whose services you've engaged makes certain warranties, are you not, as the purchaser, entitled to rely upon those warranties? Okay, let's look at this from a whole other angle. How many here today are fans of Prevail? Huh? Don't you just love him? What about Piano Concerto in D? No. What about the easy listening classics? Everybody loves a bolero. Come on. Professor Morrison, glad you've made a speedy recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a terrific crowd. Thank you, Corporate Law 1. Professor Sinclair, this is Nicole. How do you do?
My back is killing me, thank you.
We're between gigs. So you were close to Professor Murray. Very. Both free the nets and our bootstraps. Both pro-markets, both anti-big government. We co-authored countless papers. We sat on a number of advisory committees together. In the late 90s, we were both seconded to Treasury.